Welcome to another S&P 500 update. Today is May 3rd, 2023. We have the latest rate hike from the Fed, 0.25% hike. And we saw the press conference from J Powell, repeated questioning regarding to rate cut and rate pause. And the answer is negative. And that's why we saw the S&P 500 reverse itself after initial climb. So here is 11 o'clock when the FOMC announced the rate hike. Then we see it came up after the initial dip. Then we have the press conference started here 11:30 Pacific time, which is 2:30 Eastern time. And you see that initial dip, so the initial statement and answer some question. And we see that I believe here is when J Powell said we might be even close near the end of the cycle. But he was wishy-washy on that, and a couple more reporters asked the question about pausing and also the rate cut that the market is pricing in for this year, and the answer was reiterated negative. Now let's just take a look at the index here. Today we see that the strongest index is the Russell 2000, the small cap, and also the Dow Jones Transportation. They both finish in the positive. The Dow Jones Industrial is the worst performer. And for the week to date, let's see on the week to date, and the worst performer right now is the New York Stock Exchange Composite with the Dow Jones Industrial. And the transportation is the best performer so far. It's only down 0.09% or nearly breaking even. And here is the month to date. The worst performer is also the Dow Jones Industrial, and follows suit by S&P 500, Russell 2000, the NASDAQ. And the best performer is the transportation once again. And here we see year to date, the NASDAQ 100 still holding 19% gain, with the NASDAQ Composite about 15%. And the worst performer is the small cap, the Russell 2000, losing 1.25%. Now let's look at this chart a little bit more on the internal. As you can see from the new high, new low, we saw throughout the day the new low outnumber the new high and finish off with 80 more new low than new high in the New York Stock Exchange. But looking at the up-down volume ratio, the up-down volume ratio was favored the F volume throughout the session until in the late afternoon we saw it reverse and went negative, and finish off the session at 1.86 to 1 in favor of the down volume. And also the VIX was kind of hovering around this 18-19 level throughout the session also, and it is coming up a little bit, and mostly probably in anticipation of the FOMC announcement. And you see that it closed at 18.63. And also the put call ratio, you see it came up after the press conference, went above 1. So right now there's more put buying now than call. And also the advanced decline, the daily advanced decline, notice throughout the entire session except until the last half an hour or so that we saw the declining issue outnumber the advancing issue, and finish off the session with 673 more declining stock than advancing stock in the New York Stock Exchange. And just look at this intraday chart with the individual internal. And here is how the advanced decline went, came up to close to 1200 and then dipped down to below 0. And then that's where we start seeing the reversal from more advancing stock to more negative stock, declining stock. And also the cumulative tick, you see most of the cumulative tick throughout the session was positive, more positive tick. In other words, more buying on the ask and selling on the bid. But if you look at the after 11 o'clock, there seems to be more selling on the bid. Okay, so basically got more negative tick and positive tick. Although the cum tick finished the session with a positive, but it's the trend that we are more interested in. And here is the S&P 500, and see how it goes down. And likewise, looking at the NASDAQ, the advanced decline remained positive, although it came off from a top somewhere around 1800 level down to finish off with only 245 advancing stock, more advancing stock than declining stock. Again, we saw the cumulative tick was pretty much positive throughout the session until after the press conference. Then we saw a lot of negative tick coming in, and the session did close with a positive cumulative tick. You can see the Nasdaq, I got the QQQ here. Let me change it to a Nasdaq 100, and we see that the Nasdaq 100 also came down to 13,000 level here, 13,030. So we're getting close to that 13,000 level that we're looking at. That's one that level to keep an eye on. Now let's take a look at the SPY here. As we can see from the candlestick chart here, we see that the price came in to this lower range of the expected move between 409 and 407 and closed inside of this. So for tomorrow, we want to see is it going to be able to hold this range here and push back up and get back above this 410 and possibly come back up and try to get up to this high of this candle to take out this reversal candle here in the coming days. Now, if it is unable to hold this 410 area and dips below this 405.85, then look for this little gap and also this gap to be in play. And we're basically looking for the price to work itself down to this 394 level. And if we take a look at the market profile chart for the SPY, you see that there are some single prints right between here at this 409 and 410 level. So if the SPY come up and fill the single print tomorrow, then it will take out the 410. Then we can see a possibility for it to come up and try to come back up and take out this high and get in here to fill this little gap here. Now, if it dips below this low here, then we're looking for the SPY to work itself down for this 404 area down here, and then eventually come down and fill this gap down here. Now let's take a look at a couple of FANG stocks, starting off with Tesla. Here we are looking at Tesla here. Right now, we're basically looking to see would it be able to come back up to this 165. And if it could come back up to this 165, then there's a good possibility that it could come up to this 174.60, 172.20, this upper range of the expected move, and work itself up to fill this gap eventually up near this 180 level. If it doesn't, and it is unable to hold this 159 area and then dip below this lower range of the expected move, then we are looking for the price to come down to this 146.59 and basically fill this gap here. And looking at this market profile chart for Tesla, we essentially are looking at this balance area here between 165 and 159. So if it could break about this 165, then we're looking at this gap to get filled. And if it break below the 159, then we're looking for these lows to get taken out and also the gap below that to get filled. And looking at Apple, Apple is scheduled to report earnings tomorrow after the market close. And this is what is pricing on the upside, 177.50 and 176.60. And the downside is 162.80 and 160.80. So watch for these levels. If there's a positive reaction from Apple's earnings, then we could see it move up to this area here at this 177 area. But if it's negative, then we could see Apple possibly move down to this 162, 161 area. And looking at the market profile for Apple, you see Apple also has some single prints here between 169 and 168 area. So if Apple has come up to fill the single print, then look for it to come up to this poor high here. I also left a poor high for today. And that we probably will see some positive reaction on the post-earning move. But if it take out the low, we see that it could come down and dip below this low here between 182. Then we could look at these lows down here at this 160 area. So those are the levels to keep an eye on for the market profile for Apple. If you'd like to see more of my analysis on these FANG stocks, be sure to check out my Substack page at smtraderca.substack.com. And you find the content in this video to be useful and informative, be sure to smash that thumbs up to give it a like and help promote this video on YouTube. And if you are new to this channel, click the subscribe if you'd like to continue to watch these videos from me. Thank you for watching.